I spoke with Dave Moody, who learned a lot from you and grew up around this area and around Thunder Road. I actually have a clip of him describing the wall at Thunder Road. Here, I'll give it to you to play.
This is great.
The outside wall starts in turn 4. Well, now it goes all the way around the track, but back in the day, it started in turn 4 and ran all the way to turn 1. And rather than being, perpendicular to the racetrack, it actually tipped back a little bit. So they'd come off turn 4, and if you got a little offline, like 6 inches offline, you'd go up on the wall, and you'd either go all the way over, or you'd come back down again and sometimes keep right on going without ever losing a spot. There were seasons where we averaged about 1.5 rollovers per night.
Do you remember that? Was that a problem?
Well, I think that's an exaggeration by him, but he was always that way.
Yeah. Well, he learned well then about the exaggeration part of it.
He lived right near the track, and he loved it and still does. Yeah, it represents so much of what we were and what we have become, because racing was a rural activity. All those Indy stars that were so great, there's always some celebrity, but they were basically people that worked the farms and worked the lawn, and they would get enough money together and build cars. Guess where it came next?
Where'd it go?
Southeast.
Hmm.
And same thing. And they came back from World War II, and they weren't going to sit around and play tennis or baseball. They wanted something with some teeth in it. And stock car racing was it. And that's how they built so many of the great tracks in the Southeast, Bowman Gray.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere you look down there.
It's great to see the roots of racing still around today. Thunder Road is still around. You mentioned people came back from the war and didn't want baseball or other sports, and there was some gravitation to racing. Was that the case before the war as well, or was it something that happened after people came back?
Well, I can't tell you because I was too young to really understand, but I think you're onto something there, that they realized there was something more than catching the ball and throwing it somewhere. Part of it was that brave enough to die thing, which fit absolutely in with all those kids coming home from the Pacific and from Europe. And they weren't going to fool around or fuss with anything that didn't have some teeth in it. And racing was it. And they could build their own cars and do it inexpensively. And you still see it today, all over the country, those little tracks, 1/4 mile, 1/3 mile, 1/2 mile. It's kind of going fast on the 1/2 mile. Where those people got their talent, went to college, if you will, on the dirt. And some of them progressed and came up to being what Lee Petty was in 57, 58.
Racing is full of daredevils, like you said, brave enough to die. I mean, it seems like it would be somewhat easy to make heroes out of drivers who are willing to put their life on the line. What was it like branding and making some of the heroes, especially locally here at Thunder Road?
Well, that was our job.
Yeah.
And working on stories about these people, which could be your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
And because of their place on the pecking order in the community, weren't recognized for too much, but boy, could they drive a car. And you put them together and start 20 of them, and you've got a show.